All right. So this interview will be State Board of Education District 3. Remember, a reminder, panelists and candidates, this is an interview, not a debate. Okay, you have 30 seconds to ask a question, and you have 1 minute candidate to answer that. So you'll have a full minute saying that you're by yourself, Mr. Herr. And we have Mr. Barry Herr. Are you here? Raise your hand.
I am here.
So do me a favor, address our fine, esteemed panelists why you want to be the State Board of Education District 3. You have 2 minutes if you like. So I'm going to give you up to 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Barry Herr. I'm a CPA here in Las Vegas. I have my own practice. I also work for myself, by myself, which is, and I'm glad this is an interview, not a debate, because otherwise I'd have to jump between the two chairs. So I do thank you for that. I am looking to go on the State Board of Education for one simple reason. I just want to see the improvement, the quality of the education here in Nevada go get better. My daughter went to schools here in Clark County School District. She graduated from UNR. She is a teacher at high school here in town. My son-in-law, her husband, is also a teacher. He's at middle school. He's a unique perspective of a teacher in that he was homeschooled and sees the benefits of public education, as I did. Additionally, my wife has been a member of the support staff for Clark County School District for 25 years, and I do listen to my wife, and I've heard a lot of the hassles and things that she hears about within the school district. And while sometimes I usually tend to agree with her, I sometimes do put my foot in my mouth and say I disagree with you. But for those of you who are married and have significant others, you understand sometimes we do say the wrong thing. But my goal is ultimately my grandson and my granddaughter. My grandson is going to be starting kindergarten, Clark County School District here in September. And I was thinking about it, and I want him to have a quality education. I'm originally from New Jersey. We have small school districts there. They're locally run, and it makes a tremendous difference. When I went to school, we had 30, 40 kids in class, and it was fine. It wasn't fine because of the sheer numbers. It was because we had quality teachers, and the teachers were paid accordingly. And I'd like to see that throughout the state. I'm a CPA. My goal is to see that the funding is just done right, done better. Take a look at it.
Thank you so much. All right, panelists. Who would like to go first? There we go. Let's state your name.
My name is Rowena Crittenden. I'm the founder of Shine Family Foundation. And my question to you, Mr. Herr, is how would you balance your decisions as a member of the board and with the input of parents and teachers at each site in regards to science instruction?
You have up to a minute to respond.
Of course, I'd listen to the teachers, I'd listen to the parents, and I'd also listen to myself. When I went to school, I thought science was very important. I believe that for all students, they can get something out of it. As one of the other panelists said earlier, it's good for people to understand what's happening out there. At least, they're not going to be experts in it, but at least when somebody speaks to them, they have an understanding of what science is about. They can make their own determination as to what they believe is right, whether they believe global warming is happening or is not. Rather than just listen to some soundbite, they can actually take a look at some of the facts and make a determination on their own. So I believe in science in the schools.
All right, thank you so much. Next panelist.
Hi Barry, my name is Scott LaFata, and I'm with Citizens for a Better America, as well as Conservatives for Energy Freedom. My question revolves around Common Core, and I'd just like to get your thoughts and opinions of Common Core and what your thoughts would be on it if elected to the state school.
You have a minute to respond, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If I can ask a back question, have everyone seen that example of the math question about how wacky that is? Right? Everyone thinks that. Okay. Back in the 1960s, I was part of a program. I grew up in Freehold, New Jersey, which is not too far from Princeton. The school I went to was part of a program through Princeton for math majors. I was a math major. I was also dyslexic. That was the way I was taught how to do math. It did serve a purpose. With that said, I don't necessarily agree it's the best. There are standards that are offered by the Common Core. I'm an accountant. I love standards. I love the idea of being able to take a look at data and analyzing it and see what's better. However, I don't like the idea of teachers being required to, quote unquote, teach to the test. Like I said, my son-in-law is a department head at a middle school. I didn't say he was department head, but he is a teacher. He's department head. He says he does not feel any particular pressure to teach to the test, but rather these are standards that are supposed to be met. So.
Robert Faust, thank you for being here today. What do you think the effect of the illegal immigration with their children being in our schools is today as far as the standards? We have like, what, the 5th largest school district in the United States, and we're extremely low down in performance. So would you speak to that? And what do you think the primary education language should be today in the United States?
You have a minute?
My understanding is the primary language, teaching language is English. I believe that there should be programs for second language. I don't have a problem with that. It does bother me when there's so much money put into that against students who are doing well though. It has to be a realistic approach to it. I believe that standard classes, whether they be English, history, things like that, should be taught in English. I believe that for those who have problems with that, whether it's second language or other emotional or developmental problems, I believe that there should be classes for that afterwards, later in the day or something like that, but something to address those students. I just don't like the idea that it's mandatory that every school has to have every subject taught in 2 languages. It's a waste of money. My parents were part of the second language, they're first generation to the United States. Their parents did not speak English. They were taught when they went to school that they spoke English only. When they were out in public, they speak English only. Not because they weren't proud, but because they wanted their kids to learn. And I think that's where we have to get parents to get back involved with it.
Thank you. Next panelist.
Hi, Mr. Herr. My name is Pamela Caton, and I represent Evolution Travel. I'm a mother of a daughter who has a disability, and throughout her educational process, she was included. We experienced inclusion at our schools, and this helped her to further her education. She actually got a college degree. So because of that inclusion, she was successful, and it changed her life. What kind of programs do you have, or what kind of programs would you support to include children with physical disabilities who are mentally capable of participating in class, but physically they may have a missing limb or cerebral palsy? They just need assistance in the classroom. What kind of program have you endorsed or voted for or supported for people with disabilities, children with disabilities?
You have a minute? Thank you.
I just believe that the people within the school should be assisting these people also. I don't have any problem with programs. One of my best friends, who's also a CPA, was flipping my baby back in the 1950s. He was born with a hole in his heart, one eye, one ear. He was expected to pass away when he was in his early teens. Which is just a common sense of taking care of him and him going through. He graduated college. He became a CPA before me. I was always irritated about that. He was always expected to pass away at a later time. Like I said, early teenage, 20s, 30s, 40s. He's now retired from the state of New Jersey as an assistant controller for New Jersey Transit. He travels around where he can. His wife has to stay at home now, but he travels around. He goes to the yards in New York City. It's just common sense. I just help people. It's just really something which shouldn't have to be legislated or the program for. See somebody needs help, you just put out your hand.
Time.
My name is Tipitar. My question is this: it's a yes or no first part. Do you feel do you feel political correctness is a problem? And if you do, what are you doing to fix it? What would you like to do?
I do believe political correctness is a problem. One way I do to fix it is I'm not politically correct. I love the show. Everyone here remember All in the Family? That was a great show. And
Me did.
right? And yet that was, because of its political incorrectness, we were able to break down many of the barriers. I don't really care whether somebody's black, white, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. atheist or whatever. I'm concerned about when I'm dealing with clients is their integrity, the reliability, if I'm hiring somebody, their ability to do it. I don't care if they're transgender or not. That's just not an issue. I'm a CPA. I want to know, can they do the job? If they're doing taxes, are they good at it? Are they going to take care of the clients? And of course, have the integrity. Does that really answer it?
Thank you.
All right, next panelists.
The State Department and our Board of Education sets the
Can you say your
curriculum.
name, please, for the record?
Dr. Fred Conquest from the CSN and Executive Director of the Citizens for a Better America. The State Board of Education sets the curriculum for most of the school districts in Nevada, more or less. Would you be in favor of requiring a civics class for high school and a personal finance class for middle school?
Okay, you got 1 minute, start.
I definitely think that we should have a civics class at middle school and high school levels. Personal finance, I would rather put off to high school as a professional, simply because as these kids are getting ready to go out, a lot of them will have jobs and everything like that. They should learn how to balance a checkbook. Ideally, it would be great if they could just get through examples, learn how to do a basic tax return, understand what taxes are. Many people don't understand that before they get their paycheck. Uncle Sam gets his take out of it. They should understand the idea of savings and what can happen. Just do some simple things. Absolutely should be a part of it. Financial literacy, when I was president of the Nevada Society of CPAs, was a program that I was actively endorsing. Sadly, Nevada is not real big on that, and I'd like to see more of that in the schools.
Okay, next panelist.
Hi, Patrick Llewellyn, Veterans in Politics. Earlier you had mentioned that as a CPA, you would like to take a look at the budget. It's my understanding that at the centralized level or at the bureaucratic level, they have a larger piece of the pie than they should have. What would you do to get that piece of the pie distributed down to, for instance, teachers' pay?
1 minute, go ahead.
That one I'm going to say, I don't know. I really have to read the contract, how the funding formulas work to get a much stronger understanding. You're right, since that's my specialty, I tend to be a little bit more, I'll take a step back a little bit more to take a look at it. Ultimately, I think better teachers should get paid. I think the better administrators, do get a decent wage now, but I think school teachers need to have improvements in their wages. Not just because of my son-in-law, not just because of my daughter, but simply because I was in business. Before I was a CPA, I was in private industry. You get what you pay for. You want quality people, you pay them. And they'll be able to take and pick up that slack. Where we have teacher shortages, a good teacher will be able to handle 40 students better than a bad teacher handling 25. Which would you rather have teaching your son job? I'd rather have a quality teacher even with 40 students.
Thank you. Thank you. Next panelist, please.
Michael Broadway, Veterans in Politics. The question for you is campus carry and teacher carry. Can you elaborate on your thoughts on that?
Okay, you got 1 minute to start.
I actually have no problem with campus carry or student carry, teacher carry. Students maybe. I get concerned only with the fact is how the person who has a gun is presenting it. If they're carrying the cop like they're gonna go and shoot somebody, that would scare a lot of students. If it's concealed carry permit and everything like that, I think that would be the best way. Simply because it will intimidate people who might be afraid of guns.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're done with the panelists. Do we have anybody in the audience who would like to have a question? Would you state your name and your question, please? And you will have a minute, candidate, to respond.
Good afternoon, Mr. Herr. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Karen Steelman. I'm the Auxiliary Director with Veterans in Politics. And my question for you is kind of a follow-up. Stop flirting with me.
Just for the record, that was not me. Happily married. And
Yeah, this is being recorded.
my
My
wife
wife
would
will watch.
definitely hurt me, not in a good way.
Your statement about teachers' wages, and it's been my experience. I'm also involved with local business owners, and it's been my experience when you have a bad employee, you fire them. You don't just give them more money and hope they get better. So could you elaborate on that just a little bit on teachers' wages?
Do you have a minute? You want to start now?
I'm not sure I understand. Wages, I think teachers should get better wages. Bad teachers should ultimately go through, just like in private industry, you get your oral warning, you get written warning, and whatever the procedure is, as long as it's reasonable and it doesn't go out forever, I think ultimately bad teachers should be fired. I think bad administrators should be fired. I think bad support staff should be fired, ultimately.
Thank you for clarifying, because you made it sound like if we have bad teachers, you just give them more money, they'll be better.
No, I'm always assuming that when I'm talking about giving them more money, I'm talking about those who deserve it. The teachers who work hard, the administrators who work hard, the support staff who works hard. They're the ones who are going to pick up the slack. They're the ones who are going to help out the individual schools and ultimately the school districts to pick up a slack that they may be having. And the ultimate beneficiary of that is not going to be the school or school district, but our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, this will conclude our interview with State Board of Education District 3. We want to thank the candidate, Mr. Barry Herr, for coming out. Give him a round of applause. And again, I just want to thank our sponsors. Of course, we are veterans in politics. And we want to thank Scott Groley, owner of Rhythm Kitchen, Ron Q Foundations, Paul Padilla, owner of Paul Padilla Law Offices, Michael Broadway, Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones, owner of Rio Water. Everybody's got the Rio Water, raising high. Thank you so much. Owner of George Carson, owner of AllTalkRadio.net, and of course, interviewer extraordinaire, Kevin Wall of Battleborn Radio. And thank you, panelists, for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause.